Woke up this morning to a letter in the mail. SARS is knocking, looking for the Holy Grail. They want a piece of my sweat, the slice of my bone, while I'm sitting in the dark in a cold, quiet home. The ANC says nothing is a price you can pay. Well, I've got a brand new button for the tax man today. They're raiding the pensions, taking what's stored, or keep the blue lights flashing for the elite and the bored.
Free water, free housing, and a World Cup seat, while the rest of us are scrounging for a morsel of meat.
They're living high off the hog on a cater spree, while the farms and the businesses are falling to their knees. So let's pay our taxes to SARS today, in the currency of nothing, the Pretoria way. No cash, no credit, not a single rand, just the empty air from an outstretched hand. It's nil compensation, yeah, that's the deal. Says nothing is a payment. Let's see how it feels.
Dean McPherson says that the math is quite fair.
If nil is a value, well, I've got plenty to spare.
Why should I fund the graft and the privilege and pride,
while the infrastructure's crumbling on a one-way ride? You want my hard-earned money for your fancy parade? Sorry, Mr. Taxman, but balance a state of zero. Our communities are breaking,
and the neglect is a sin.
the poor getting poorer while the fat cats grin. They tax us to death
Just to fuel their machine,
but the cupboards are bare and the pockets are clean. And we're paying our taxes to SARS today with nil compensation. Let the politicians pray. No more moolah, no more sense, just a thank you note for the government's expense. Not a cent left,
not a rand in the head,
just nil compensation across the land.
yeah, keep your blue lights,
I'll keep my pride.
the till is empty,
Nowhere left to hide.
nil compensation.
That's a fair trade.
Welcome to the dead
That's already been paid.
Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. Welcome back to the program, folks. Chris live in central Pennsylvania. Quick sound check here. Live in central. Sound is good. You know, if I don't do that, then somebody will say, I can't hear you. The sound is wrong. Usually because their volume is turned down. Occasionally because my software is acting up. So it's necessary to do that. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to the news right away. We've got some news to talk about today, as always. I see people that are talking about refugee things. This is not a refugee program. You can save your questions to the end respectfully, or you can find something else to watch. Self-centered attention seeking is not needed when people are here for news analysis and updates. All right, let's get to it. Did that hurt some feelings? Oh well, grow up. The State Department has ordered non-essential U.S. diplomats to leave Lebanon as things ratchet up over Iran. The United States has ordered non-essential diplomats and their family members at the U.S. Embassy in Beirut to leave as tensions with Iran rise over potentially imminent military strike. Officials said in a continuous assessment of the regional security environment determined it was prudent to draw down the U.S. Embassy footprint so that only essential personnel remained at their post. Of course, Lebanon is one of the locations where terrorist proxies work on behalf of the Iranian theocrats to undermine peace and safety in the Middle East. Probably concerned Americans will be targeted as a consequence of the upcoming conflict with Iran. South African farmers reportedly tell Anderson Cooper that claims of white genocide are false. Once again, the obsessive nature of the South African media continually reporting on this story, continually perpetrating and continually repeating the phrase white genocide, not even attributed to a reporter. News 24 reporter, too cowardly even tell us who the reporter is. Too cowardly to tell us who is even behind the story. American media outlet CBS and its outgoing journalist Anderson Cooper visited South Africa chasing U.S. President Donald Trump's claims of genocide against white South Africans. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, these are not Donald Trump's claims. These are things fabricated by South African media and perpetrated by them, falsely attributed to Solidarity and AfriForum and people who are conservative or right of center. It's the media and politicians in South Africa who keep running around with this narrative of white genocide. Trump was asked about white genocide in the Oval Office and said he wasn't convinced of it. So why didn't the argument end there? Trump has only on one or two occasions actually used the term without having been prompted by it. It is not Donald Trump who's perpetrating the concept of white genocide. It is the media using the term, pretending it's an outlandish claim, to dismiss the torture, murder, direct targeting of white South Africans in their homes. Just like they say, well, black South Africans are attacked too. They are. And I've always reported on farm attacks of black South Africans, Indians, and colored South Africans. Always. I report on all farm attacks and all safety and security and the countless murders in South Africa I report on each and every day. But that doesn't mean that white South Africans are not being intentionally targeted because they're white. We know that. There's a concerted effort to target white South Africans, particularly those who own property. It's a fact. We have the evidence of it. Torturing people, what does that accomplish? They have no explanation for why family members are raped in front of their parents, why children are dumped in bathtubs and electrocuted to death, why body parts are removed, why men are castrated in front of their wives. They have no explanation for that. Well, it's just crime. It's not just crime. Oh, they were angry. They weren't angry. These people didn't even work there. They're not even from there. It's the hatred from the it's not about apartheid. The people perpetrating these crimes weren't even born during the apartheid era. This is a concerted, directed, controlled, organized effort to attack white South Africans, drive them off the farms. And since Trump's announcement of refugee program, we've seen it exacerbated and picked up over and over again. People being accosted in a parking lot in broad daylight in Bloberg Strand, in a pick and pay, at a Checkers, just walking through the parking lot. Give me your car. Fuck off and go to America. The fake media in South Africa and CBS are complicit in this orchestrated cover-up of the violence directed against minority South Africans. And here's just a warning. some people will take this for so long, and then they'll strike back. And that's the problem. While the government is complicit in its negligence, its denial that this is happening, its refusal to treat all of its citizens with equal justice, at some point, someone will strike back. And this government won't survive. This government won't survive. They'd already proved it can't survive a minor insurrection within its own ranks in the ANC in 2021 when the government nearly collapsed over an internal insurrection in KwaZulu-Natal over the arrest and imprisonment of a convicted criminal, Jacob Zuma, former president. People only take so much, and then this will become a bloodbath. And little cowards from the EFF aren't the ones that will start the bloodbath. Those wusses run from, you put 5 Afrikaner Boers standing in the street wearing their shorts and short sleeve shirts, and the EFF, hundreds of them run away. One water cannon makes thousands of EFF run like the world is coming to an end. They're not real men. They're not combatants. And these fake veterans in MK, most of them will run away as well. It's the gangsters and others who will strike back. Look at what just happened in Mexico. In a CBS 60 Minutes bullshit segment that aired on Sunday, Anderson Cooper spoke with farmers, Agri-SA CEO Johan Kotze, AfriForum CEO Kali Creel, and others about claims of genocide. Funny how Anderson Cooper didn't speak to Theo de Jager. Funny how Anderson Cooper didn't speak to me. Funny how Anderson Cooper didn't speak to several other notable people who actually know what's going on. Interesting. I think that undermines his credibility, don't you? The meeting followed an executive order signed by Trump. That's going back to the meeting from last year with Ramaphosa. During the meeting, the U.S. president made claims of genocide, particularly against Afrikaner farmers. No, he didn't. Trump didn't say genocide. That's false news. You notice that not one reporter's name is attached to this byline because it's bullshit. They don't attach a reporter's name to it because they're cowards, because they don't want that reporter to be exposed for being the fraud that Disinformation 24 is all about. Disinformation 24 lying to you here. Trump was asked about genocide. He didn't use the term genocide in that meeting. He didn't raise the issue of genocide. He said they're killing farmers. Bad things are happening. Remember the snarky response from Ramaphosa in G20 Summit? Bad things are happening. That's the phrase that Trump used. And he's correct. Bad things are happening in South Africa every day. More cases of corrupt police today. More cases of people molesting, raping, murdering, robbing, stealing left and right in South Africa today. So Trump was correct in what he said. Bad things are happening in South Africa. They've been bad and things have been happening there for decades. And to bury your head in the sand and ignore it is simply nonsense. CBS did another hit job after Anderson Cooper's bogus misinformation white genocide propaganda outlet media piece that came from CNN that could have been made by Leni Riefenstahl from the Nazi Party in celebration of the National Socialist Party. She could have filmed this. She would have been proud. Misinformation is a product that Leni Riefenstahl would have been proud of. Stolz darauf! Leni Riefenstahl, die Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei. The Nazis would have been proud of CNN's misinformation. They would have been very proud of it. It's propaganda and disinformation at its highest level. It's Trump hatred, blind hatred. The facts be ignored. The fact that CNN paid for me to fly to Alabama to interview me and then didn't even bother interviewing me properly, sticking me in a place facing the sun in the summer heat with a lawnmower growling nearby, asking me questions. And when I refused to lie for them, I simply told the truth of the matter, the facts. I didn't wind up in the documentary. Good. I don't want to be in a propaganda piece of crap. During the meeting with Ramaphosa, U.S. President made claims of genocide. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Annika Larson made claims of genocide. If anybody, she raised the question. Mr. President, now that President Ramaphosa here, are you still convinced of a white genocide in South Africa? Annika Larson, not Donald John Trump. Trump said, I'm not convinced of that. So why are they still going with this? Why are they still going with this? Because it suits their narrative to downplay the intentional effort to eliminate property owners in South Africa. White property owners specifically, but not exclusively. In the video, footage was aired at what Trump called a burial site for white farmers. Each of these white things is a cross, and there are approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, a family of white farmers. The family of white farmers, excuse me. So that statement is accurate. They were crossed to represent those people, but they were not burial sites. Cooper spoke to KZN farmer Darrell Brown, who said he'd been responsible for erecting these crosses. It definitely wasn't a burial site. These crosses were there for less than 48 hours. It was purely an avenue of crosses that we planted there in honor of commercial farmers. So why does Mr. Brown allow himself to be used like this? Anybody? I'd like to interview Mr. Brown and find out if he actually informed them that these are, and focused on the fact that these are murdered people. But instead, Mr. Brown has allowed himself to be used twice by CNN and by CBS for propaganda to distort and lie about the situation. So the fact that they weren't burial sites, which was a dumb statement by Trump, I said so during the broadcast, watching it live, and have said so repeatedly since then. The fact that they're not burial sites, does that mean that those people weren't murdered? They weren't white farmers and their family members, their children, their spouses? Of course it doesn't mean that. And see, that becomes the story. Trump lied about burial sites. No, he didn't. He misspoke. This is disinformation. This is propaganda. And it's being spread by News 24. By the way, I've written to the press, or I've written the press ombudsman about them. I've written to them. Let's see if I've got a response from these people. Let me just take a look here for their lies and their comments. I haven't even looked to see that. They've now had a couple days sent. Let me see when I sent this to them. There he goes. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Good day, Mr. Wyatt. Thank you for email. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused. Your email has been forwarded to the subscription department. Unfortunately, we do not handle the content of Network 24. To ensure your feedback reaches the correct department, please click on the link below. So nothing came of it. Media 24. All right, so I will write to them and give them a chance to respond. Okay. Ombudsman. Here we go. Okay. Why can't I just copy this? I can't. These people are annoying. I can't copy their damn email address. Copy my email address. Let me see if that works. So you guys are here with me now as I write to News 24, Media Network 24 for the propaganda. Okay. Copy email address. Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm writing to the Hofredakteur, so that's the director, and the Adjunct Redakteur and Ombudsman. So Teresa Oliver is the assistant director and ombudsman. So I'm going to write to her, but this is dated 2021. I wonder if these people are still there. So I'll write to both. And I need to find my message I sent. This came today at 1 o'clock in the morning. They finally responded to something I sent the day before, so that's pretty good. Sent, I need to get to that so I can get this. All right, so forward to this person at Media 24, right, at Netvek. So I write to Media 24 and they tell me that these aren't the people that do it. So they gave me the address. And then they send me right back to their own company telling me that they're not the ones to do it. So I'll give them a chance. Okay. All right. Is that right? Hang on a second. That doesn't look right, that email address. Something ain't right here. No, it's right. All right, well, there we go. Make sure I got this right. Olafia. All right, I've sent them the message now. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if they respond. Yeah, but this is a dishonest media outlet. Sorry, they just are. So we'll see what happens. All right, so Cooper said Brown had kept the cross in his shed on his farm, then he brought them out again after his best friend Tully Nell was also murdered on his farm. Cooper spoke to Nell's wife, who also dismissed claims of genocide, identifying the work as opportunistic, saying the suspects knew there was money in firearms. Yeah, I saw her say that. I don't know what else she may have said in the interview. It may have been clipped out because that's what CNN does, and that's what CBS does. They clip things out. All media outlets do that. But when you clip things out that are substantive, that are informative to the story, you're dishonest. I don't know what they said. But the bottom line is claiming that these crimes are simply opportunistic is a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. Garrett went to somebody's residence to ask a question. What are you talking about? Whose residence, Garrett? What are you talking about? Debbie, thank you for your membership. Kutza dismissed the claims of white genocide, saying it was about criminality. The fact it happened on a farm doesn't make me special as a farm. It's horrendous. Any murder is horrendous. Agreed, 100%. But the torture and dismembering of people, the theft of no items, isn't about crime. It's about an attempt to drive people off the land. And to deny that is to deny that. Of course, Anderson Cooper further undermined his story by speaking to none other than Max Dupree. Yes, spoke with veteran journalist, propagandist Max Dupree, who discussed the first group of Afrikaners arriving in the U.S. as refugees. Cooper said there were now more than 2,000 in the U.S. who had been declared refugees. Dupree called this an absurdity. Recently, City Press reported on the color couple. Oh, he said that they are saying white lives are more important than other lives. No, he didn't. Max Dupree is a dumbass, and I hope you're listening, Max. You're a long-established propagandist who lies about what's happening in South Africa. You've always lied about what's happening in South Africa for your leftist political agenda. They're not about saying white lives are more important than others, you dumbass. There are coloreds and blacks who come over. They're talking about lives that are in jeopardy. And because you're ignorant or you have a propagandist agenda, you refuse to accept the truth. Also, they can't even get the facts right. They say Anton Mueller. It's not Anton Mueller. It's Anthony Mueller. Yeah, Dupree is a dumbass. He's always been a dumbass, a liar. The fact that Anderson Cooper interviewed a communist who lied about the program and he doesn't even question about it shows you there's no credibility to the Anderson Cooper story whatsoever. But it'll get lots of play. Lots of play. Well, things just get better and better in South Africa. Now a fire at the airport in Cape Town suspends travel. Priority given to passengers only with hand luggage due to problems with baggage handling system. Okay. Fire disrupts travel at Cape Town International Airport. What was meant to be a routine afternoon departure turned into hours of confusion and uncertainty after a fire on the landing side of Cape Town International Airport forced the temporary suspension of international flights and disrupted domestic travel. When Linda Sobek, 43, and her husband arrived at the airport at 2 p.m. for their flight to Joburg, they were met with unexpected chaos. We had a 2 p.m. flight, and it's very dark here. Even when you go buy snacks at Woolies, we have to pay cash. Nothing's working here. We don't know what happened. There's a lady who's connecting flight to Germany. She's still stuck here. Airports Company South Africa, a state-owned parastatal, confirmed that international departures are temporarily suspended after a fire broke out on the land side of the airport in the morning. Passengers traveling in domestic flights or arriving in domestic flights are advised to check directly with Airlines and AXA mobile app for the latest flight information. FlySAF Air said several flights to and from Cape Town were delayed. An update at 1:50, FlySAF Air said the baggage handling system at the airport was unavailable. Well, ain't that special? Fire at the airport. There you go. There's the extinguishing material on the ground. Not snow, but foam. International departures suspended. Incoming flights were diverted while domestic flights resumed with updates via airlines. There were no functioning notice boards or visible announcements informing travelers that flights have been suspended. The display electronic boards were also down due to the power outage. Confused passengers stopped anyone they believed worked the airport, desperate for answers. Mandy Govinder had been due to fly to Durban for her sister's memorial. Instead, she encountered confusion and congestion outside the airport. Officials told me there are no flights out today until tomorrow and that we should all go home. I understand it's a disaster and a safety precaution that affects all of us, but there's no public notice explaining what's happening. If you look around, you see people still arriving. How are they going to manage pedestrian traffic here? A visibly frustrated Chris van Rensburg said he'd already checked out of his hotel and had received no communication from his airline. It's been more than 2 hours since the fire was announced and there's nothing from the airline. Imagine if I didn't have money to book back into a hotel, I'd be stranded. It's going to be chaos. People end up sleeping on the floor because not everyone has a plan B. The fire affected network and IT services, including airport Wi-Fi and other essential systems. As a precautionary measure, international departures have been temporarily suspended. Passengers traveling in domestic airlines and arriving in domestic flights are advised to check directly with the airlines. Ladies and gentlemen, let me show you the response at the Cape Town International Airport, run by a state-owned parastatal whose board is stuffed with patronage hires, Airports Company South Africa, one of the better functioning communist enterprises in South Africa, but nonetheless a communist enterprise that interferes with civil aviation. Let me respond and give you a reenactment of how people respond to the fire. There's a fire. Oh. Is somebody putting it out? Okay. Let me know when I finish my game of Mahjong. Yeah, you go, Mario. Yeah, you get princess. Yeah. Come on, Mario. Jump, you little bugger. Jump, jump. Come on. Go, Mario. Yeah. Ah, damn it, he fell. What? No. Let me know when it's done. Okay. Tell people. How? Oh, you mean call the radio stations and let them know what's going on? Give a press conference over the radio? Nah. Should we use the loudspeakers to do an announcement? Oh, you're suggesting that we have people go through the airport who represent the airport, draw a crowd, and every half hour announce what's happening? Nah. Let them eat cake. Nah. What do we care about passengers? We're communists. We have our paychecks. We don't give a shit about any South Africans. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another example of an incompetent organization. And incompetent airlines, too. And for once, I'm going to criticize FlySAF Air. Why didn't FlySAF Air have a representative at one of their major airports, Cape Town and Joburg being the two biggest airports they operate out of? Why didn't they have representatives with megaphones, with PA systems, with a mic and speakers going through the airport, or at least going to their check-in desk? Why don't they have boards, whiteboards where they can write down things when things don't work? What kind of morons run these airlines? What kind of morons run these airports companies in South Africa? What kind of morons run South Africa? How do you not have a plan in place? How do you not have emergency plans in place? How do you not have transportation on call? How do you not have resources? By the way, it's not a South African phenomenon. You see the same thing in America, same thing in the United Kingdom. This is bullshit. So it's not just South Africa. I've experienced this in London, where British Airways didn't know their butt from a hole in the ground. I see this with American Airlines almost every flight I take. Complete chaos and stupidity from organizations that can't handle a bump in the road. And no doubt it's because we've had this DEI bullshit going on for 40 years now. It's undermined the capacity of these organizations to actually function as an organization. Well, Brown Mokhotsi, these people kill me. Apparently they think the CIA is some powerful, all-powerful organization that anybody that they want to attack can be working for the CIA. If all the people that they claim work for the CIA would be the biggest employer in the U.S. government. Mokhotsi admits the CIA claims against KZN Police Commissioner Mkhwanazi were unfounded. In a dramatic turn of events, Northwest businessman Upa Brown Mokhotsi on Tuesday acknowledged that his suspicions about KZN National Police Commissioner Nanlem Mkhwanazi being a CIA Central Intelligence Agency agent were unfounded, attributing the lack of tangible evidence to the unreliable nature of his sources. Well, first off, this dumbass suspected criminal testifying and then making a claim that some government official works for the Central Intelligence Agency, the fact that anybody would treat that with any degree of reasonable consideration shows just how stupid and what a clown car show the Mshanga Commission is, and South Africa is. Seriously? You guys sound like the idiot from down under. Oh, he's a CIA operative. Bunch of retards, I swear to God. Well, a double blow for national health insurance as it's paused. It's put on hold. Yeah. Following an agreement with Ramaphosa to put the promulgation of the national, boy, big word there for business tech, promulgation of the National Health Insurance Act on hold, the Pretoria High Court has granted an order to the same effect. Solidarity, one of the key litigants challenging NHI on several grounds, announced it to receive the court order on Tuesday. That's today. The union said the order came as it agreed to place its litigation against the legislation on hold, but only on the condition that the implementation of further development cease immediately. This arrangement will remain in force until the Constitutional Court has delivered a ruling on the rationality of President Ramaphosa's decision to sign it. There you go. So basically, there's now an agreement by the government of South Africa to pause any future development. Now, do you trust the ANC to not work towards NHI? I do not. I do not. And I encourage the media outlets in South Africa, if they're actually genuine media outlets, to continue to investigate this story and look for the government actually progressing NHI while there's a court interdiction not to make progress on it. This, I'm predicting right now, is a story that will unfold later on, because this constitutional court case will take a long time to get before the court, a long time. And when it does get there, if it's 18 months from now or 2 years from now, we will find out eventually that the ANC government behind the scenes lied, violated the court order, and continued to work towards NHI, setting up automation systems, setting up IT, setting up processes and procedures, hiring people. You watch. You watch. This is what will happen. You heard it here, February 24th, 2026. Do not trust the ruling party of South Africa, because it's not the ruling party of South Africa. It's a coalition partner acting as the ruling party, and they will do what they want, when they want, how they want, regardless of what the law says. February 26th, or 24, February 24, 2026. You heard it right here. Before any analyst told you what's going to happen. Before any analyst told you. National Health Insurance standoff, a temporary suspension. Parties challenged the constitutionality of NHI, reached an in-principle agreement with the government to cease litigation, provided the NHI Act was provisionally halted. Yep. The agreement only stands until the Constitutional Court rules on a separate procedural challenge, which is being heard in May. It may be heard in May, but we may not get a decision for months after that. We will see. And it'll probably get delayed again, like most of these things do. Mr. Price has continued its purchase of a German retailer, NKD, 9.6 billion rand, $500 million for this. Regulatory approval paves the way for the retailer's European foray. Yet another South African conglomerate seeking to spread its wings abroad, most of whom have failed miserably. Retailer Mr. Price says it has cleared all regulatory hurdles that stood in the way of its European acquisition. They're in the process of acquiring German retailer NKD, giving it access to the huge European clothing and homeware market. It is by far the group's biggest deal yet, transforming Mr. Price from a regional player into a global one. That's fine. NKD has reached its zenith. It's not expanding any further. It's not adding new stores. It's 2,500 locations. It's saturated Germany and neighboring countries. There's not much room for growth. So I'm really not sure what the plan is here. But if you're not familiar with NKD, they offer low quality, inexpensive clothing, among many other things. Here you go. That's not a German woman for a German site. That's not a German woman for a German site. Ah, there's a German woman. That's not a German man. See this? A country that is 98% white, and there's almost no white people here. $19.99, $30 for outfits, €10 or $12 for a t-shirt. This is NKD. Unser neues Prospekt jetzt erhältlich. Our new opportunities, our new offers are now available. Yep, you can get a, is that to clean the wall, I guess? It's a brush to clean the wall. Clean the mold off the wall for €3. And there's a trash can for €16. NKD. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Well, would anybody like to own the rights to SA Express? It's available for just 150,000 rand. Who wants to buy it with me? And we'll just make our own SA Express. Following the liquidation of South African domestic airline SA Express back in 2022, liquidators are 2 steps away from fully winding up the company, awaiting the sale of its name and brand identity, valued at 150,000 rand. That's it. Not even $10,000. We can pull that off, guys. Let's put our money together. The South Gauteng High Court delivered the final liquidation order for SA Express back in 2022, after 2 years after it was put in provisional liquidation. But they still have to unwind the rights to the name. Outpaced and outdated, why South Africa is nowhere in global trade deal boom. An article by Carol Patton. This one covers an actual journalist name, so thank you for that, Carol Patton. Carol Patton talks about trade and what's going on with South Africa and how it's not negotiating for deals. Unfortunately, she has incorrect information. As countries across the globe race to sign new generation trade agreements, South Africa has little to show for their efforts. Since President Trump's Liberation Day tariffs on April 2nd, South Africa has secured just one agreement with China. And even that is a unilateral generalized system of preference offered to all African countries. So they didn't secure a deal with China. They got a deal that China gave to all African countries. So they've secured 0 deals. We don't yet know what will be required to offer China in return. As just like the U.S.'s Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, this arrangement will not come free. There'll be requests for market access. Really? I'm sorry, Ms. Patton. You have no idea what you're talking about. The African Growth and Opportunity Act comes with no access for U.S. goods. This is one of the reasons why Trump came with reciprocal tariffs. The African Growth and Opportunity Act for 25 years offered African countries duty-free access for 1,800 products plus another 5,800 products under the General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, over 7,000 products, access to our marketplace for free. You didn't have to give us any reciprocity, and you didn't. South Africa imposed 70% tariffs on our poultry. They banned our pork. They put quotas on our automobiles. They put quotas on our goods coming in the country. There's no reciprocity. There's no requirements there. You don't have to offer anything. AGOA expired on 30 September. They signed a new law, backdated it to 1 October, so there's no gap in coverage, and it says the same thing. It's the bill that was introduced by Democrats in Congress. It's the exact same thing. There are no requirements. There are no obligations. There are nothing on demand from the U.S. What are you talking about, Ms. Patton? What do you mean it's not free? Just like the U.S.'s AGOA, this arrangement will not come free. Of course it comes free. The only thing under AGOA is you have to agree to democracy standards, which you've never achieved, which you've never adhered to, which you've never followed. South Africa's violated the terms of AGOA and broken the law for the entire time it's been a participant in it. Specifically since 2018, when it introduced expropriation without compensation. Respect and protection of private property rights is a key tenet of participation in AGOA. And South Africa's violator of that, a serial violator of it. Yep, they pass laws that violate AGOA. So they shouldn't have access to it. Carol Patton, what do you mean it's not free? Of course it's free. Of course it's free. That's propaganda. Or an uninformed journalist. The rest of the article is pretty good, but that's just nonsense. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And I tried to respond to it, and their comments, they won't let you put comments in. I put something in there. I finally got to put in, but I had to take a sentence out. No hate, no abuse, no insults, but it didn't like one word, so I couldn't post it. It's just ridiculous. All the comments on News 24's articles are watered down because you can't use half the adjectives in the English language. Well, another 11 mercenaries have returned to South Africa. MK's plan to fuel the war in Ukraine, murdering Ukrainians, is going sad. Another 11 South African men are set to return home to Russia after seeking assistance from the government. Their imminent arrival follows an earlier return of 4 South Africans who are part of a group of 17 mercenaries who were contacted for help. Will they be charged with being mercenaries in criminal acts? Because they got enough tan, it's good enough. They're going to be fine. Steenhuisen is grilled over foot and mouth task team's mandate and non-disclosure agreements. Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen faced scrutiny from MPs over the unclear mandate and composition of the foot and mouth disease task team. MPs raised concerns about non-disclosure agreements, lack of farmer support, and coordination with foot and mouth disease. Yep. Well, good luck, Johnny. More police corruption. This purportedly shows police taking a bribe. Uniformed SAPS officers pockets what looks like cash from an undocumented migrant. A criminal alien invader allegedly took money from a cop. Gave money to a cop.
With the police.
Yeah.
The other one wants his share. Give me my piece of the action.
Lima atli suksita. Angit nga ba foot? Awabon laban pensi corruption.
Can't you keep the camera focused? For God's sake, what kind of idiots are these people? Idiots that don't know how to film things. I swear to God, amateurs, they do this crap all the time. So, yeah, do it right there in the open, taking a bribe. Well, one province stands out above all others with the latest crime statistics when it comes to carjackings, and that, of course, is Gauteng. Latest crime statistics published by South African Police Service show that fewer hijackings occurred, between October and December than in prior years, but they are high. Nowhere else is this more evident than Gauteng, where more hijackings reported than in every other province in the country combined. SAPS reported 4,420 carjackings cases that were opened over the period, equating to an average of 48 cars a day being hijacked. Wow. That's crazy. Gauteng had 2,544 hijackings reported. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a 90-day period. So let's see how many that is per day. 2,544. 2544 divided by 90 days. That is 28 carjackings occurring in Gauteng per day. Wow. But things are fine in South Africa. It's on the rise. Sir Ron Posa says South Africa is coming back. Yeah. Well, 28 people being carjacked per day in South Africa tells me it's not coming back. Thank you, Ulundi Bertel, for your subscription. Razor and Rozzy reunion. Oh, Scott Robertson is going to coach the Babas. They're going to do a match against the Springboks in PE. Springboks will tackle the Barbarians in PE in June to open their 2026 season. The invitational side will be coached by recently sacked All Blacks coach Scott Robertson, Argentines Felipe Contempomi. It will be a vital preparation for the upcoming All Blacks tour. The Babas will be in town, folks. Yeah. Oh, cool. Awesome. African leaders are warning about Russia recruiting mercenaries for their Ukraine war. African leaders are increasingly condemning what they describe as a cynical campaign to recruit African men to fight and die in a foreign war as Russia's battlefield losses mount after 4 long, bloody years in Ukraine. At the rate the Russians are going, they're going to wind up losing more Russian soldiers than they lost to the Nazis during the Blitz. The Wehrmacht will wind up killing less Russians than drones. Bali, massive flooding taking place, tourists being evacuated. Flooding in parts of Indonesia's popular resort island prompted hundreds of people, including dozens of tourists, to seek safety. High water levels. Intense rains triggered flooding since late Monday across several Bali districts and provincial capital of Denpasar. Water inundated facilities such as cafes and gas stations. We're here to visit Bali Zoo, so we're trying to visit the elephants, but due to this condition, we couldn't do this, said 28-year-old Mexican national Brianna Palacios. Good thing she's not Mexico. Former South Korean president appeals his life sentence for insurrection over martial law decree, and he's right to do that because this is railroading. This guy followed the law. He suspended the martial law when Parliament convened, as the law requires, and in hatred, they imprisoned him for life. Will now go to the Seoul High Court, where it will be handled by a special panel dealing with cases involving foreign subversion, treason, and rebellion. Lawyers for former South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol said he has appealed the life sentence the Seoul court handed him for rebellion in retaliation for his brief imposition of martial law. Seoul Central District Court on February 19th found him guilty of charges of abuse of authority and orchestrating insurrection. We will never be silent about what we view as an aggressive indictment by a special prosecutor, the contradictory judgment rendered by the lower court based on that premise and its political circumstances. Agreed. Yoon attempted to impose martial law on December 3rd, 2024, but backed down after 6 hours following Parliament's vote to overturn the decree. He said he imposed the measures in order to protect the South Korean constitution because the opposition, which controlled the Parliament, was sympathetic to communists and North Korea. Yep. And it was within his powers as president, and he did follow the law, and for that they imprisoned him. Yep. Myanmar's government is blaming insurgents for an attack on an ATR-72. Myanmar's government is blaming insurgents for an attack on an ATR-72-600 turboprop, which was departing an airport in the north of the country on 20th February. The aircraft operated by Myanmar National Airlines had been bound for the central city of Mandalay. Myanmar's National Defense Security Council states the aircraft was damaged during a terrorist attack by insurgents from the People's Defense Force and the Kachin Independence Army. It adds that the attackers used first-person view suicide drones and that the ATR sustained damage to its nose, mid-fuselage, and tail. It was a deliberate attack on a civilian airline which conducts non-military public transport. It's a war crime under international law. It is. Security forces are conducting necessary security operations in the area. The entire public must condemn the terrorist attack. Council states that a notice to airmen has been issued to suspend flight operations, temporarily owing to minor damage to the airport. You can see on the windscreen there how it was damaged. I don't know how they landed this plane. Must have used instruments. And you can't see through that screen anymore. Urgent measures being taken to ensure normal flight operations. Look at the tail section. This is crazy. Of course, remember what happened with Joshua Nkomo. Was it Joshua Nkomo or was it Zapu or Zano? I think it was Zapu, who shot down a commercial Rhodesian airliner and then murdered the survivors. Remember that? Yeah. War criminals. These are the people that run Zimbabwe today. War criminals. Yep. War criminals. France is upping the ante against the American ambassador, Mr. Kushner. Says ministers will no longer meet with him. Well, that's what I said you do to an ambassador that's not conforming. France's spat with the U.S. ambassador to Paris took another turn today, with the French foreign minister saying the top U.S. diplomat must respond to a summons and won't have access to the French government officials until he complies. French authorities summoned Ambassador Charles Kirchner, the father of President Trump's son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner, for a meeting on Monday over comments from the Trump administration that France objected to. But Kushner did not show up. And the foreign ministry said the U.S. Embassy did not immediately respond to repeated requests for comment. Speaking today, French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot described the failure to attend the meeting as a surprise that flew in the face of diplomatic protocol and will dent his ability to serve as ambassador. It will naturally affect his capacity to exercise his mission in our country. He's bringing difficulties on himself because for an ambassador to be able to do this job, he needs access to members of the government. That's the basics. There's nothing more unusual than summoning ambassador when explanations need to be made. Well, this is all because of the government's comments about the murder of a French citizen by leftists. France's foreign ministry summoned Kushner over Trump administration tweets relating to the beating death in France of a far-right activist. He's not far-right. They keep calling that Quentin Durand. The 23-year-old student, described as a fervent nationalist, was beaten by a group of people earlier this month in the city of Lyon in fighting that erupted between far-left and far-right activists. He later died of brain injuries. In a post on X, the State Department's Counterterrorism Bureau said the violent radical leftism is on the rise and its role in his death demonstrates the threat it poses to public safety. Embassy posted that statement in French. And because they stated that factual thing, the French feelings were hurt. Listen, you're a country that actually bans the burqa. You really don't have much ground to talk here. When I talk about far right, your actions are far more far right than stating the obvious about terrorism in France. Greenland has said no thank you to the hospital ship offered by Trump. Of course, he hasn't offered a hospital ship. It's just rhetoric. There's been no order to anyone in the military to move any hospital ships to Greenland. It's all just talk and nonsense. Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen said he does not support Trump's decision to send a hospital ship. It's going to be a no thank you from here. President Trump's idea to send an American hospital ship here to Greenland is noted, but we have a public health system where treatment is free for citizens. It's, because the Danes pay for it. It's a deliberate choice and a basic part of society. It's not like that in the United States where it costs money to go to the doctor. You dumbass. You think it's free to go to the doctor in Greenland? It isn't. The Danes pay for it. Go ahead and get your independence, see who pays for your health care then, you fucking moron. Greenland's prime minister is a dipshit. I've never called him any names, but now I'm just going to say he's a dipshit. What a dumbass. It's free. It ain't free. Someone else is paying for it, asshole. Epstein-related arrest of Peter Mandelson, who was previously kicked out of the government, rattles British politics. They're all dirty, folks. They're all dirty, including Sir Keir Starmer. Who the hell knighted that clown? The arrest of British former envoy to Washington, a long key figure in the Labour Party, deepened the scandal that has led to calls for Prime Minister's resignation. That guy should resign and be investigated for criminal charges. Starmer, that is. Almost a year ago, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer stood next to Peter Mandelson, who's doing ambassador to the United States during a welcome reception at his residence in D.C. Both men were beaming as they celebrated Mandelson's return to the corridors of power. And there you go. There you go. Keir Starmer is the one who put this perv into office. His judgment is questionable. The exuberance is faded. Monday afternoon, the British police arrested Mandelson at his home in London following allegations he passed confidential government information to the sex offender Jeffrey Epstein during an earlier period when Mandelson served in government. Mandelson, a towering figure in British politics for more than 4 decades, the arrest of the culmination of a year-long fall from grace has taken him from pinnacle of global diplomacy to a holding room in a local police station in central London, where he belongs. And Keir Starmer, could he be far behind? I suspect he won't be. The man's judgment is questionable at best. Canada has certified all new Gulfstream jet models to defuse a trade row after using the failure to certify our aircraft built in Wichita to deny U.S. market share in Canada to protect their market. The Canadians are forced to back down with their anti-capital market tactics by Trump and its threat of tariffs. President Trump threatened to ground aircraft from Bombardier from operating in the U.S. until Canadian authorities approved the 4 newer Gulfstream jets. Yep. Canada's aviation regulators finally approved the Gulfstream G700 and G800 models. Last week, Transport Canada issued certificates that approved the operation of the Gulfstream 500 and 600. On Tuesday, formal approval for the 700 and 800 were made public. In late January, President Trump threatened to ground aircraft from Montreal-based Bombardier from operating in the U.S. until Canadian authorities accelerate approval for its 4 newer jets. They have been sitting on approval for ages, not approving our aircraft that are airworthy, and they've already approved for aviation flight in multiple countries because the Canadians were blocking access to their marketplace. This is what countries do, like South Africa, like Germany, like China. Well, the president preparing for a State of the Nation address tonight. Yep. President Trump will deliver a State of the Union address at 9 p.m., reeling from major Supreme Court setback and falling approval ratings. Trump is expected to highlight what he sees as the achievements of his administration. It's going to be a long speech because we have a lot to talk about. The new tariff of 10% of most global imports went into effect after midnight, despite Trump's pledge on Saturday to impose a 15% rate. They're still working on the higher rate increase, trying to comply with existing law. Well, the Democrats is going to backfire on them. What are they going to do? Their response to the Trump speech? They're not going to talk about what they plan to do to make America better and stronger, because they don't care to make America better, stronger. They care to destroy it from within because they're treasonous bastards. But the Democrats want to run a parade of Epstein victims in front of the cameras. Why? Almost everyone we're discovering the Epstein files is a Democrat or a foreign national, a leftist. A parade of victims. Democrats invite Epstein survivors, deportation targets, as foils to Trump's speech. I'm not laughing at the women who suffer, and I'm laughing at these idiots. As Trump surveys his audience to the Capitol Tuesday night, he'll see some friends in the gallery, but also plenty of opponents, including people victimized by Epstein, a person that Trump called out and exposed long ago. They're the guests of the Democrats. The most in-your-face of the guests are the victims of Epstein. But why? It's the Democrats who are the ones who did it. My survivor sisters and I have been fighting for transparency, accountability. Meanwhile, Trump calls us a hoax. No, he doesn't call you a hoax. See, this is just bullshit, and that's why I don't trust and I don't listen to that. Trump never said what happened was a hoax. Trump called it out. He exposed it, and it was ignored by the rich and powerful when Trump was out of office. When Trump was out of office, the rich and powerful covered up the Epstein files. Trump's in office. He's released millions of documents in 6 different releases spread over the course of a year. At the Justice Department, working 7 days a week, ensuring that victims and sources and methods weren't exposed by disclosing this information. He didn't call you a hoax. He called the Democrats' claims that he was involved in it a hoax. And that is a hoax. It is a hoax. So they're still trying to run this bullshit story about this nonsense that they're the ones involved in. The Democrats are the ones that are involved in this. It's just comical. It's sad. It's pathetic. Mr. Schumer's also bringing Raiza Contreras, whose son Dylan Lopez Contreras entered the U.S. in 2012 without a visa, but came under special catch and release exception to the regular immigration system developed by the Biden administration in violation of federal law. He was arrested by immigration during an appearance in immigration court and has been in immigration detention more than 8 months as he fights to block his deportation. No mother should have to go through what Raiza is experiencing right now, being unjustly separated from her son. We must rein in eyes. The lawlessness, the violence, the chaos must end. Shut the fuck up. Lawlessness? The lawlessness was your criminal son invading our country. Denise, thanks for everything you stand for. Apologies for a couple oxygen thieves. It's okay. Thank you for the 140 rand. The lawlessness is your criminal alien invader son. The lawlessness is your ignorance of U.S. immigration law. The lawlessness is your attack on immigration and customs enforcement, who are simply enforcing the laws of this country. The lawlessness is you leftist hate wankers who hate America. He invaded this country, a criminal regime run by a demented lunatic who can't climb a flight of stairs, and orchestrated by Barack Obama and Susan Rice, allowed millions of criminals to invade our country. He is detained because he's a criminal. The only reason he hasn't been deported is because he's fighting it. He has no basis to fight it. He's a criminal, a violator who violated our sovereignty. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. And you can go with them, sweetheart, Miss Contreras. Go with your son back to whatever hideous origin you came from. No mother should have to go through what Raiza experienced now. Then leave the country. Don't invade America. Representative Randy Fenstra, Iowa Republican, will host Scott Root, the father of Sarah Root, a 21-year-old killed by an illegal immigrant who was street racing while drunk driving in 2016. The criminal alien invader, Eswin Mejia, was released on bail from local charges and ICE under Obama administration. They didn't pick him up, giving him a chance to flee to his native Honduras, where he remained free until Trump authorities tracked him down last year. He was convicted and sentenced earlier this month to 2 decades in prison. Last year, Mr. Trump signed a bill that included Sarah's law in honor of Root that requires ICE to detain illegal criminals accused of crimes that caused a death. Paul Perez, president of the National Border Patrol Council, got his ticket from Senator Cornyn of Texas. Jess Michaels and Marinda Lacerda were victims of Epstein. The Republicans are bringing them. The family of the Reverend Jeffrey Jackson Jr., who passed away last week, was a guest of the House Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. Rick Woldenberg, CEO of Learning Resources, will be there. Claire Lai, the daughter of jailed Hong Kong democracy advocate Jimmy Lai, will attend as a guest of House Speaker Mike Johnson. The planned crew for the upcoming Artemis II mission to the moon will be guests of Mr. Johnson. Democrats are bringing business owners, labor unions. Yeah, and Trump is in his previous address to Congress, he's honored everyone from Buzz Aldrin to Rush Limbaugh to Tuskegee Airman Charles McGee, whom Trump promoted to a brigadier general when he was 100 years old. Yep. Anyway, also the hockey teams are supposed to be there. Well, what do we need to know about Trump's State of the Nation address? He's invited U.S. men's and women's hockey team to the event. Of course, the leftists are running around lying about it. Oh, Trump didn't invite the women. He did invite the women. Stupid fools. President Trump will address both chambers of Congress tonight. That will be his first State of the Nation since the beginning of his second term. Speech is at 9 p.m., his second address to Congress since he reclaimed the White House, coming roughly 1 year after his March address. State of the Nation. Jimmy Carter. There's VA Secretary Doug Collins. And there you go. U.S. men's Olympic hockey team and the women are invited. The Democrats are going to boycott. What's this? Some list of Democrats announced plans to skip the event entirely. Good. Adam Schiff will be there. We don't need pathological liars there, so good to see him not going. Who else is not going? Ed Markey, Jeff Merkley, Chris Murphy, Tina Smith, Chris Von Holland. Good, good. Nobody wants you turds there anyway. Anyway, nobody wants those turds. Bonnie, thank you. Money can't never buy honest integrity. No, it can't. Jean Bobby John, 70 Rand is Ilyan and Laring Center owners going to be I think they will be there. Facebook, Meta, and American Micro Devices, AMD, have announced a $100 billion stock for chips deal. Yep. Could result in Meta owning as much as 10% of AMD stock as the chip maker seeks to challenge NVIDIA. Meta Platforms has agreed to buy 6 gigawatts worth of artificial intelligence computing power from Advanced Micro Devices in a deal valued more than $100 billion that could result in Facebook, Meta, owning as much as 10% of the stock of that company. Well, I'll sell my AMD stock. It's got Facebook attached to it. I'm not interested in at a principle. Here's an op-ed. Will we see 5, 6, or even 8% GDP growth this year? We're in the midst of the strongest economic growth we will witness in our lifetimes, and 2026 will go down as the strongest year for GDP growth ever recorded. At a Mar-a-Lago dinner recently, I had the opportunity to chat with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. I told him about my 5% GDP prediction. This is Louis Navalier. And I was surprised to hear Howard raise the bar to 6%, only be upstaged by President Trump's prediction of 15% growth made on Fox News with Larry Kudlow. We briefly discussed how 15% is likely a bar too high, but Howard assured me 6% this year is very possible. Even though 15% is a moonshot projection by Trump, I'd say GDP productivity gains are up to 8% are possible via AI, while 4% industrial growth gains are possible if exports continue to soar and consumer spending growth above 3% is likely. 78% of companies in the S&P 500 have announced their fourth quarter results. Sales growth has risen at 9% annual pace, while earnings have risen at 12% annual pace. Wow, the 10th quarter in a row where earnings growth has exceeded sales growth. Wow. Gold prices expect to benefit as tensions between the U.S. and Iran persist. Yep. Interesting stuff. Trump considers new national security tariffs after the Supreme Court ruling. New levies on half a dozen industries would be issued separately from the new 15% levy. Trump administration considering new national security tariffs on half a dozen industries in the wake of the Supreme Court decision last week. The new tariffs would cover industries such as large-scale batteries, cast iron and iron fittings, plastic piping, industrial chemicals, and power grid and telecom equipment. They would be issued under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, which gives the president broad powers to impose tariffs based on national security risk. And the court cannot strike it down, despite their silly efforts to do so. Yep. Conservatives and GOP lawmakers slammed the Huffington Post's anti-American hatred of this country in their critique on display of patriotism Olympics. Republican lawmakers, conservatives on social media are blasting the Huffington Post article suggesting that it's understandable that Americans feel less patriotic during the Winter Olympics. Huffington Post article said U.S. athletes' feelings about politics and national events could collide with their sense of pride in their country and themselves. It cited comments by U.S. skier Hunter Hess, who was asked about representing America under the Trump administration. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S., he said. Conservatives have flooded social media with photos of American athletes celebrating the U.S. flags and criticized, suggesting this form of patriotism could be off-putting. Republican Representative Tom Tiffany of Wisconsin and Senator Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma responded with online outrage, with one telling critics of America to go to hell. Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw the Huffington Post article, but it was disgraceful. Let's see if I can find it. Huffington Post. Let me see. Where's it at here? Where they hate America. Where's it at? I don't see it. But they had, maybe they just put it on their Twitter account. But another Huffington Post story. Oops, where's it at? There's it at. Okay. U.S. Olympic hockey team here responds to diss a women's team by Trump men's team. Everything is so political, says Jack Hughes. Well, Trump didn't diss the women. This is nonsense. They're just generating bullshit. Just generating bullshit. Huffington Post. Typical nonsense.
Real?
And America gets gold. The US men's hockey team finished their time in Milan Cortina by winning the gold medal in an exciting match with Canada.
What the hell is that? That's an English accent. Why the hell is that on American news? Jack Hughes, who scored the final game-winning goal at the Olympics, tried to chill outrage against the team. He said everything's so political, he told the Daily Mail. The women turned down Trump's patronizing invite to join the men in the State of the Nation, citing time conflicts with an achingly diplomatic statement. Yeah, well, screw the women. We cheered for them, and they hate America. So fuck them. They don't need to be there. Simple as that. Simple as that. They were invited, and they chose not to go. So screw them. They chose to tarnish this moment. Screw them. We cheered them on. We rooted for them. We didn't care about their sexual orientation or their politics. We rooted for them. And they put a finger in our eye. Screw them. Paramount's revising its bid for Warner Brothers. This battle continues. Somebody's going to make a lot of money off this deal. And those of us consumers are going to get screwed with higher subscription and streaming fees. We're already getting screwed by watching freaking commercials for streaming service. Warner Brothers Discovery on Tuesday confirmed what it had received a revised offer from Paramount to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, its latest effort to woo the entertainment giant away from a deal with Netflix. Well, I don't want to go Netflix, so I'll tell you that. Warner Brothers Discovery announced the deal in December to sell a large portion of its business to Netflix for $83 billion, turning down an offer from Paramount Skydance to acquire the whole company for $108 billion because it wanted to stay independent. Paramount subsequently took its pitch to shareholders and made tweaks to its offer, but had not raised the price, which valued the company at $30 a share. And this continues ongoing. The Central Intelligence Agency is retracting intelligence reports because they're politically biased. Deputy CIA Director Michael Ellis led an internal review that concurred with reports that did not meet CIA standards. CIA has retracted substantially revised 19 intelligence reports after finding they contained political bias and fell short of CIA standards. CIA Director John Ratcliffe said in a February 20 statement that the reports fall short of the high standards of impartiality that the CIA must uphold and do not reflect the expertise for which our analysts are renowned. There's absolutely no room for bias in our work, and when we identify instances where analytic rigor has been compromised. Yep. The President's Intelligence Advisory Board identified the reports during reviews of hundreds of CIA analysis produced over 10 years. President Trump named new members of the board, including former Representative Devin Nunes, Katie Miller, the wife of Trump advisor Stephen Miller. One of the reports dated January 2015 said that lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people in the Middle East and North Africa were under pressure from governments there, saying that this was hindering U.S. initiatives in support of the rights of these people. The second report, produced in July of 2020, said that the COVID-19 pandemic was hurting access to contraceptives in developing countries, which it said would probably undermine efforts to address population pressures there that are hindering economic development. A third, from October 2021, detailed what analysts said were women who had adopted roles to participate in white, racially, and ethically motivated violent extremism contribute to the endurance and resonance of its narratives worldwide. Excuse me? Women who had adopted roles to participate in white, racially, and ethically motivated violent extremism and contribute to the endurance and resonance of its narratives worldwide. What the hell is that? That's woke bullshit. Team USA reminds Americans to believe in our greatness. This is an op-ed. U.S. Olympic athletes prove character and competitive still define the nation. Last week, Elisa Liu became the first American women figure skater to win any Olympic individual medal since 2006 and the first to come home with gold since 2002. In 1989, her father, Arthur Liu, fled China as a political refugee after Tiananmen. He came to America with a dream of a free life. Decades later, his daughter became the face of Team USA. Still, the Chinese Communist Party didn't forget. Before the 2022 Beijing Olympics, Miss Liu and her father became the targets of Chinese Communist Party espionage ring that stalked them on U.S. soil and pressured their silence. 5 men were charged with spying for the Chinese dissidents in 2021. One allegedly impersonated a U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee official and asked her for her father's passport numbers. The Chinese spies traveled to California's Bay Area, where the Liu family lived, and tried to obtain private information from the family to supply the Chinese government. But she competed in the Beijing Olympics. She had to be escorted by 2 people at all times. Last week, Lou's American story became complete. She didn't skate in the Milan Cortina Games just for an Olympic medal. She skated for freedom her father risked everything for. As she glided on the ice flawlessly to Donna Summer's MacArthur Peak, her father was seen cheering from the stands, hugging the American flag. It was a definition of true patriotism. The Lou's are American heroes. Indeed they are. So too is Jack Hughes, whose sudden death overtime goal propelled Team USA to its first gold medal in 46 years. The Canadian opponents were favored to win the final and outshot the U.S. 42-28, controlling the puck for most of the game. However, it was American grit that won the day. Mr. Hughes had several teeth and bashed out mid-game, well, actually late game, courtesy of a high stick to the mouth, but he continued to skate. U.S. goalkeeper Connor Hellebuck defended shot after shot, frustrating the Canadians repeatedly over the course of hours. Once victory was secured, the entire American team, draped in red, white, and blue, flooded the ice with the children of teammate Johnny Gaudreau in tow. Gaudreau never competed in the games as he was killed by a drunk driver a year and a half ago. His children posed with their late father's jersey, celebrating another miracle on ice. Yep. As for his bloody mouth, I'm lucky I'm from the best country in the world, and we've got great dentists there too, said he usually laughed at his toothless mouth. So I'm lucky I'm American, they're going to fix me right up. Oh my goodness. Another op-ed, J.P. Morgan's debanking of Trump chills all Americans. J.P. Morgan Chase, the nation's largest bank, in response to a lawsuit filed by Trump, finally acknowledged that yes, indeed, executives did actually shut down his personal and business accounts, more than 50 of them, in the weeks and months that followed the first White House term. It's all the earmarks of a political move, and that is what makes it chilling for all Americans. If banks can get by with closing the accounts of those with whom they disagree politically, then America's entire constitutional system is in jeopardy. America is a democratic republic run by law and order and grounded in the concept of limited governance. From that springs a free market. Businesses have no business butting into politics as a means of controlling how the population votes and how politicians govern. The fact that J.P. Morgan has yet to specifically specify a reason for these closures is telling, because it suggests politics was indeed at play. After all, if there were valid reasons for closing dozens of Trump's personal and business accounts, including those for his hotels, his retail, and his housing developments, why wouldn't J.P. Morgan just state them? Instead, this is what the bank, in an unsigned memo to Trump dated 19 February 2021, has said. Trump needs to find a more suitable institution with which to conduct business. As an added kick, the letter writer also wrapped by copycatting one of Trump's own favorite phrases, i.e., thank you for your prompt attention in this matter. And that was the memo. One can almost see the smarmy smile on the unidentified coward's face. J.P. Morgan says it closed Trump's bank accounts a month after January 6th, noting the timeline events. The politics are obvious. Trump, thankfully, isn't letting the issue drop. His attorneys have filed a $5 billion lawsuit against J.P. Morgan and CEO Jamie Dimon as well. Among Trump's allegations are that without warning or provocation, they gave 2 months' notice of intent to close all his accounts. In essence, they debanked the plaintiff's accounts because it believed that the political tide at the moment favored doing so. Yep. America is not an oligarchy. Americans by birth are endowed with rights and freedoms and privileges from God, and therefore do not bow down to bureaucrats, political servants, company executives, or anyone claiming the authority to strip basic human civil rights from the individual for the good of the collective or as a means of punishing political opponents. Banking is a service industry, and its only principal stand should be to refuse those who seek to abuse and exploit its services for criminal and illegal gain. Other than that, banks should shut up and serve. Trying to stifle Trump because of politics is a slap in the face of everything for which America stands, as well as a disturbing warning to all Americans. The $5 billion actually seems low. Quite frankly, this is from Cheryl Chumley. I agree. Trump should have sued J.P. Morgan for $100 billion. And I say this as a shareholder of the bank. A shareholder of the bank dating back to the days when it was Bank One, based in Columbus, Ohio. For over 30 years, I've owned shares in this company. And the bank should be sued for $100 billion and punitive damages. This should amount to a $500 billion judgment against the bank. $500 billion judgment. Their message should be sent. A message should be sent. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable. El-Marie Mayer says, it was a joy to be part of the White Army. El-Marie Mayer, what does that mean? Are you leaving the Army? Are you leaving? Bonnie says, you, Colonel, that's scary. Huh? Marie, what is that? That statement's a little scary. What do you mean by that? The realization of the facts are to liberals what sunlight is to a vampire, kryptonite to Superman. Yep. Metro law enforcement officer reinstating got $500,000 back pay after being fired for using cannabis on duty. Gee, many crickets. Paul Duncan, how's it going? Polish friends of mine used to say it's easy to be a communist in a capitalist country. Yep. The loudest critics of America who never lived anywhere else. Exactly. Royal family said to be devastated if Prince Andrew's car crash next Wednesday. That's not funny. Sorry. I can't help but laugh. Enough giving you next week's headlines. Jean Bobby Jean is Ilion and Laring Center owners going to be there? I don't know. Bonnie says money can never buy honesty. True. Schumer, Shifty Schiff, Nadler, Omar, all Goonies. Yep, they are bad for America. Indeed they are. Where is Biden now? Who knows? So dumb. If Trump had anything to do with Epstein, why would he order the files be released? No person is that dumb to implicate themselves. Exactly. Politicians like gravediggers. They love digging crap up and burying people. Still see people to this day releasing the files, release the files. They ignore everyone who's in it because they're waiting for more releases, hoping to find Trump and go look and see. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Denise, thanks for everything you constantly do. You're very welcome. Don't worry about the oxygen thieves. I don't. Do you think he'll give a speech on UAP? What is UAP? Paolo, what is UAP? Sorry, I don't know what that means. Yeah, why does Greenland have a prime minister? I thought the colonel is the viceroy. Yeah, I'm not the viceroy. They have a prime minister. And he's not very bright. Not very bright. If people think South Africa is getting worse now, it's not. We just never heard of what was going on before. Colonel Wyatt started reporting everything. Our media reports lying. You're right, Bitter Ender, and I've been reporting it for 6 years, and it's been hidden and covered up by so many people. Toast, 250 Rand. Thank you. Ooh, I haven't seen a 250 Rand for a while. Thank you for the super chat. Very kind of you. Cool beans. What driver and what bus? Starmer is a snake, says William. Yeah, he is. They're all dunces. Starmer has 5 rent. Really? I didn't know that. No such thing as a free lunch. That's true. A bus was hijacked in Creel. Okay. School bus. I didn't see that. Can afford to pay well because so few live to collect their paychecks. Oh, UFO. Oh, Paolo. UFO. Okay, now I got to go back and see what your question was. Yes, I didn't understand what you meant. It was confusing. What was that? So Paolo asked me that question. I got to find what it was now. UAP. I was like, what the heck is that? I don't remember what the question was, and I can't find it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, do you think he will give a speech on UFOs? I don't know if he's going to talk about UFOs. I don't think that's likely. Did somebody get deleted here? I thought I saw text get deleted. Or did delete their own text. People do that a lot. There it is. Someone wrote an Afrikaans and got deleted for misbehaving. Thank you for the 70 Rand. Flooding equals water that is supposed to flow away. Can't all the units are full? I have no idea what you're saying, Joe. Ingrid, I'm at the point where I don't even want to listen to anything regarding something where I get so riled up. If I get the U.S. before already failing heart packs up patiently, it'll be a miracle. My maid told me someone is recruiting people to go to fight for Russia. They've been offered $41,000 a month. Her neighbor has just left for Russia. That's a lot of money. Last week, one of our town's garbage trucks was hijacked, an earlier 84-seat branded school bus. That's crazy. Woolworths Clothing, it's the food section that keeps themselves operational and phone at least once a week for store credit increase. Huh. Walmart plans to rename 20 game stores. Plans are to Walmart. It's one thing to attack game store owned by Walmart, but another if it's named Walmart. Gotcha. Ebola Game says, well, it's all due to the BE laws. My dad worked for SAA for years and got replaced due to BE, and no one can work on the planes from that day on. Yep. Yep. Exactly right. People don't forget that tonight is President's Dress. Yep, well, I'll be covering that. African lady customer that buys her liquor store. I don't know what you're saying. Guy says lots of useless staff at airport. I remember one guy checked my passport and would not allow me to check in at the airline desk because my passport was empty. Because you didn't have any stamps from going anywhere. Yeah, stupid people. Hey, Charles Van Olsen, the voice of reason, is here. Okay, what's that? And that's, what is El Marie saying? What's going on there? Did she jump back in here? I haven't seen her jump in. What is an EBT food card? What are you talking about? You talking about food stamps? That's a very complicated situation. Are you asking about refugee stuff now? We're done with the news, so I guess you can ask about that. Please explain unidentified aerial phenomenon. Okay, never heard of that term before. Yep. East Coast ostrich. Are you asking a refugee question? Please clarify. Suspect there are a few extraterrestrial in the South African government. Answer: in New York, Young Republicans Club has a new nations conference in Pretoria tomorrow. Yep. Yeah, they do. They do. They're hanging out with the New York Young Republicans. Yep. Ronnie's Blue Light Brigade caught a one-way, driving up a one-way, pushing folks off the road. That was Paul Mashatili's, wasn't it? I thought that was Paul Mashatili's convoy. Yep. You think in the next 50 years there will be a United America? There's a good chance if we save it in the next 6 to 10 years, it'll be here in 100 years. Yep. America will never be united as long as we allow traitors in our midst, homegrown and imported ones. The imported ones we can get rid of. Andres Muller, you're welcome. Thank you. And Charles Edwards says thanks for the news update. The other day it was a cool hoodie. Today, cool shirt. Oh, yeah. Here you go. I'm always wearing cool stuff. I got lots of crap in the house. I buy stuff from all my adventures and travels. I'll be in Pittsburgh this weekend, folks. Yeah, that's a good question, so-called refugee. I don't know. Where? I think it's Mexico City we're supposed to do it. I bet they'll still do it, but man, it's going to be crazy. What are the FIFA World Cup venue locations? 2026. Let's see. Mexico's got something. Yeah. It doesn't really help me to say Mexico. That's ridiculous. I know it's Canada, Mexico, and USA. Okay. So where are the damn locations at? Okay, in Canada, it's in Guadalajara. Guadalajara is where the terrorist attacked yesterday. They attacked the airport. That's not good. So Monterrey, Guadalajara, and Mexico City. It doesn't look too good. Doesn't look too good. Yep, doesn't look good. There's only one location in all of Canada. That's in Vancouver. Wow. So here's where the World Cup is supposed to be played, folks, this year, as if I really care. One location, Canada, Vancouver, Seattle, San Jose, and Los Angeles, as well as Kansas City, or St. Louis, St. Louis. No, that's Kansas City. I'm sorry, Toronto also has it too. So there's two locations, Vancouver and Toronto. 3 on the East Coast, then Atlanta, Miami. That's where the World Cup is supposed to be played. Chunks of the United States, not even in it. 3 locations in Mexico. This is not going to go well. Seems there's a cap on IQ when people want to be part of the Democratic Party. You're right about that, Henny Visa. Yep. So that's the locations for the World Cup. Philadelphia is nearby me, but let me see what a World Cup ticket, Philadelphia World Cup tickets. Let me see if I can find a FIFA World Cup tickets for Philadelphia. Okay, let's see what they cost. Okay, FIFA World Cup tickets. All right, tickets. Poses the portal closed on 22 February. Oh, so there are no more tickets. You can only get them for last minute tickets. Yeah, so they're closed. They no longer sell tickets. Wow. So if you haven't got tickets already, you can't get them months before the event. That tells me they're probably sold out. So you can get tickets through secondhand crap like SeatGeek. Let's see what we get here. Yeah, SeatGeek. Here are the tickets for the FIFA World Cup, a game that I didn't give a crying crap about. Ecuador versus Ivory Coast, $755 for the cheapest seat. Brazil versus Haiti, $831. These are all Philadelphia. France versus a team to be determined, $704 a ticket. Curacao versus Ivory Coast, only $348. Croatia versus Ghana, $605. Philadelphia, and then in the round of 16, $1,016 for a ticket. Oh, Elmarie says, it's been a joy for the year that you've been here. Elmarie, the way you said that is like you're leaving or something's happening to you. Don't say that. You'll make us nervous. Anna Kruger says, good night. Thank you for being wonderful. You're welcome, Anna. How can I subscribe for a one-year membership to the channel? It doesn't work that way, student, unfortunately. YouTube only does month to month. Yep. Yeah, so the cheapest seats are $348 for Curacao versus Cote d'Ivoire. So if I want to go to the round of 7, it's 19,000 Rand. One ticket. The worst seats. Let's take a look at where the seats are for the cheapest seats. What's available? I need one ticket. And here we go. So here, this is the cheapest seats for this. This is resale market, what people are charging. $500 for all these tickets down here on the lower level. $457 up here. You can get tickets for $348 in the blue. That's a nice arena, by the way. I've been there where the Eagles play. So this is your view for $489 to watch soccer, to watch paint dry. To watch paint dry. I don't think so. I can watch the All Blacks play the Springboks for $80 in South Africa and sit near the field. Not $348 for that or $800 for that. I don't know about Ron Posa going to Mexico to watch soccer. Good luck with that. Appreciate your knowledge. South African politics, for the truth. In South Africa, truth does not exist, but buried under corruption. You're welcome, Debbie Zaman. Yeah, it's true, Simon. Yep, it's true. The truth is buried. Do you know what happened to the $28 million that Zuma had to pay back? Hasn't paid it back, to my knowledge. Hasn't paid it back. He's just punting it down the road till he dies, trying to avoid it. He'll never face justice. Ernst Rutz is a punk rocker. Yep, I knew that. Anyway. All right. What did I miss? Did I miss any super chats? How can people go about making the United States fully united? The country will never be united. People are free to express their opinions here. That's why it's not united. In countries that we can't free to express their opinion, there's a false impression that the country is united. For instance, China. People think China is united. China is a disaster. Very few people like the Chinese communists. Could you please tell me if a South African didn't finish school and goes to USA as a refugee, how would they go about getting the GED? Very simple. I know. Very simple. You take a test. The GED is just tests. You enroll. You can take a course. You can do it online. You can do it online. Here you go. To obtain a GED online, get a free account at GED.com, pass the GED ready tests, practice tests with green scores, and meet technical requirements. You need a computer, webcam, and internet. The online test is procured remotely, costs $36 per subject, and is accepted by most colleges and employers. Okay? So, you can do it online. So, GED home. The GED is just a test, folks. People act like they're actually getting something. It's just a test. I can go to college, the GED. Welcome to the home of the GED test, your official online resource to prepare for and earn your high school equivalency diploma. Sign up for a free account if you don't have it, okay? And then you can take it online. Enroll for the GED from the comfort of your home. You can do it in South Africa as long as you can pay. What do you need? Computer, webcam, and internet. Private workspace, government-issued ID card. Ooh, okay, maybe you need a U.S. ID card. I don't know. Maybe not. What states offer the GED? Let me look and see. Do you have to be in the United States to, let me see. Do you have to be in the United States to complete the online GED? Okay. Let's see what they say. Yes, you must be physically located in the United States to take the official online document. So you can't take it till you get here. All right? Yep, you got to be here. Okay? So you can't take it in South Africa. Does that answer your question? Yes, soccer is very similar to watching paint dry. I know. Does that help? Hopefully that helps. Anyway. You're very welcome, okay. Not going nowhere for now. I want to take care of my mother and she won't go to the U.S. Oh, El Murray. Okay, all right. Yes, James Bowie, Mexico is a mess. It's a disaster. Let's check in and see real quickly if we've got anything from Caroline Levitt. Come on, YouTube, play nice. Professor G, I made a mistake. What's he talking about here? There's 1,000 people watching President Trump's State of the Nation address, State of the Union address. He's not even giving it right now. 60 Minutes documentary debunking Afrikaner genocide backfires by Stephen Zede. That's by Stevens writes this, yeah.
There is a delicious irony about propaganda and left-wing talking points being presented in such a way to try and combat and defeat a narrative that then suddenly almost does the opposite. As people who are open-minded watch what the left is saying, they go, whoa, what? This is insane. We're talking about the 60-minute documentary or the preview to the documentary where 60 Minutes and Anderson Cooper goes out of their way to try and disprove the genocide narratives here in South Africa. But what ends up happening is they kind of prove it. Before we get going, though...
Yeah, they do kind of prove it. I've talked about this.
I want to give a massive shout out to Gerard for your donation on yesterday's video.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah. Stefan ZA. I need to make a video on this. I haven't had a chance to do it yet. I've been busy. I've watched paint dry, Anton. Yep. It's called Democratic Administrations. We have stormwater drainage almost the roads, but they don't work, not maintained. Well, yeah, Joe, that's why the floods were so dangerous in KZN. All the storm drains were blocked by rubbish. Sally is saying, Janine, are you telling me you sent it, Sally, or Janine sent it? House Foreign Affairs Committee discounted the new CNN documentary on their Twitter account. What CNN documentary? You talking about the Misinfo Nation? Juanita Parkinson, trying to keep the big guy talking. Well done, Colonel. 300 Rand. Thank you for that, Juanita. Appreciate that. And Hans Visser, genocide, the standard strawman argument. You can dishonestly attribute a weak argument to your adversary, destroy it like the real Don Quixote, claim victory and ignore it. Yeah. Hans Visser, yeah, there you go. That's pretty good. I like what you said there. I'm going to quote you, buddy. Going to quote you in my video. Thank you for that. That's pretty good. Yep. I'm going to quote you. Yep. Spoke about the police being corrupt. Well, we had people trying to get in our yard 2 times. Police was here both times. Nothing happened. Yeah, Donnie, I know. I've been talking about police corruption for years. Oh, the new one from Anderson Cooper. That's not on CNN. That's on CBS. Pinol did a video talking about Gayton and the DA. Well, Pinol has no credibility. I don't even pay attention to that guy. I watch paint dry every day, and I still prefer it over soccer. I'm with you on that one. By the way, folks, for the 438 people that are here, you do know that I have a Facebook account that I had neglected for a long time. If you'd like to join my Facebook community, you can do that. I'm publishing things on there now because people keep saying that a lot of people only go to Facebook. So even though I don't like Facebook, I'm putting more stuff on it. And I've also renamed the channel. It used to be in Dab Africa. That's the link in Dab Africa, but it's at Colonel Chris Wyatt. So we've gone from thousands of followers to 1,500 just in the past few days. If you'd like to join that crowd that's flooding over to that channel, please join it. There's a link right there. And go over and sign up for right now, and your name will appear on the screen. You get a bonus. Yep. So starting to get a few views. The last video I put over there got 3,700 views. Okay. Yeah, the one before that got 1,700. The one before they got 2,600. 700 before that, and that's really when I started. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not making any specific content solely for Facebook at the moment because I still don't trust the platform, but I am putting things over there. And now Paolo just became a member over there. Thank you for that. Shawnee, what's going on? Walt's plan, the governor says his proposal includes a ban on military assault rifles. There's no such thing. High-capacity magazines, safe storage, reporting your weapons when they're lost or stolen, closing the ghost. Yeah, Tim Waltz is a person who needs to be removed from office. TikTok, yeah, TikTok doesn't work very well either. Yes, Meerkat, I know Facebook reaches more people in South Africa, so that's what we're trying to do, and maybe we can get them to migrate over to YouTube as well. So yeah, but we got to get a bigger presence on Facebook. I've never had a big presence, but now people are coming in. Look at that. Some of you didn't know about that. I'll also be trying to find a way to create a Instagram account for this channel, and we'll put some things on Instagram. I have an Instagram account, but it's a private one. I don't really share it with people. I tried live streaming Facebook. Unless it's improved in the past 5 years, it was crap. I couldn't do it very well. I couldn't do it. I live stream on. Oh shit, I didn't do it. Damn it. I was supposed to do that this morning on an X. I didn't do it. Oh, man. I hope people aren't pissed off at me. Yep. Yep. Where the hell is this at? Oh, man. Yeah, I was supposed to do that chat this morning. Where is that thing? Yep. Live on X. Show more. Yeah, there's a bunch going on right now. I was supposed to do that this morning. Yeah, where the hell is that at? I can never find where I put these things at. So that's why I didn't do it. I was supposed to do that this morning. Apologies for that. And I didn't tell people about it. So I'm going to have to reschedule that. I was going to have one of those with the Twitter Live on X, where we're going to talk about how the refugees are being treated and mistreated by the media and by case officers. Yeah, so that was supposed to be on X, but I never told you guys about it, and I couldn't find it. I don't know where the hell it's at. I set it up, but then I can't find where it's at. It's confusing. Very confusing. So anyway, I don't know. Yeah, so, but my profile's not really growing on Twitter. It stopped at 13,600. So if you don't know me on Twitter, you can find me on Twitter. I didn't advertise for last month because I was locked out of my channel by people hacking into it. So there it is. Now it's got dual factor authentication over here to keep people out of it. So that's my Twitter account. And I do pay stuff on Twitter, and I put some unique content on Twitter as well. So it's not just stuff from YouTube. Yeah, there are a lot of trolls on Facebook, a lot of nasty people. Yep, John Wells does an X Space Daily. Yeah, that's his program. It's just broadcast on X. Would I like to see Trump address the State of the Union? It's not tomorrow. It's tonight, Arnie. Tomorrow for you, but it's tonight here. What would I like to see President Trump address? The issue in Iran, number one. I'd like to see him address South Africa as well. I'd like to see him talk about it, but he's not going to talk about South Africa. I'd like to see that, but I'm not going to see it. Yep, not going to happen. Don't have a furnace. Oh, my goodness. It's 29 here, Shawnee, so we have the same temperature. I'm sorry to hear your furnace isn't working. Oof. Can't wait for the interview with Bruce. Yeah, that's this weekend. That'll be on Saturday afternoon. So it'll be Saturday evening for you guys. Yep. I've got rugby. Let me see what the rugby is this weekend, so I got to cover that. It won't be the Six Nations. It'll be URC, so Flow Rugby. Let's see what I got going on this weekend. 28th is Saturday. 7:30, I got the Lions and Stormers, so I'll be covering that 7:30. Schedule, 28 February. Let's get to that. Come on. There we go. 27 February. Okay, nothing for me to cover. Okay, on the 28th at 7:30, I've got Lions and Stormers. So, and then at 10 o'clock, it's the Bulls and Sharks. So that'll be all four South African teams. So I'll be done by noon. So early afternoon, I'll meet these guys. So we'll probably do it 1:30 maybe if things go well. Yep. some right time around then. Okay, cool. So those games go early for me. I'm glad it's at 10 instead of 11. So that gives me a little bit more time. Cool beans. And then I'll spend the rest of the time with those guys. Yep, that's this weekend. So Lions, Stormers. Lions looking good. Stormers are looking sad. So Bulls and Sharks. We'll see what happens in that one. That's at Loftus. Bulls ought to be able to win that, but you never know. You never know. You never know. Anyway. All right. Yeah, so where was that? Sorry to hear about your furnace. Trump is live now? Really? Really? All right. JSA 140 Rand. Thank you for that. No, I don't know anyone that got flights mid to March. Someone claimed that they got flights, but I haven't seen that. Haven't seen anyone. Yeah, it says live, yeah.
And order to our cities and towns.
This isn't live.
In recent years,
this isn't live.
Our justice system has been turned upside down by radical left lunatics. Many jurisdictions virtually ceased enforcing the law.
This is last
against
year's.
Dangerous repeat offenders.
It's not live. He's not live
law
now.
Enforcement against political opponents like me.
His address is at 9 o'clock tonight. It shows you right here. Look, it says right there, join us for the State of the Union at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Justice under the
This is old.
rule of law, starting at the FBI and...
No, that's old. That's not real. That's old. That's not live. Yeah, exactly. See, that's misleading. So 35,000 people are watching that right now thinking it's live. Cases are currently working on the website. I can see the console log. They're cleaning up data, correct management. Exactly. Yep, that's old footage. No, USA Media, we don't know if anybody's gotten flights. We don't know. We don't know. I'm not accepting friends. You can follow me. That's a business channel, Paul Leclerc. That's a business channel. That's no, I'm clever enough to not do that. I'm not accepting Facebook friends. Nope, that's a business channel. So, yep. So, yep. Don't have to worry about friends accepting friends, because that's not happening. And now the page isn't loading. Well, there it goes finally. So, yep. Yep. All right, see you later, Paolo. Thank you, Paolo. Thank you for subscribing to the Facebook. Yeah, no flights that I know of. Nothing's happened there. All right. You're welcome. Have an online class in the moment. Okay, enjoy your class, Ingrid. Okay, and it's probably time for us to wrap up. Watching a trial for the next few weeks. All right, Reader Rousseau. I'm sorry to see you go. What trial are you watching? But you don't have to answer that. Hopefully you catch us. You can catch us after the fact. You don't have to watch everything live. And watch my prepare videos, okay? All right, that's going to do it, folks. Thanks for being here. Don't forget, I'll be on my mobile phone, so your patience will be appreciated this weekend for the coverage of the 2 rugby games. Appreciate that. Posts don't appear. Sona Bloom, I see your post. What did you type that pissed off YouTube? Your post is there. Your shirt is right side around. Huh? What are you talking about? Right side around. You can read it on the screen. I can read that on the screen. What are you talking about? No, the new total. Guys, okay, I've said this many times, Henny. The U.S. government releases refugee arrival statements on the 5th of the month after the month is concluded. That's when the data will come out. It's the 24th. There won't be a report on February until March 5th. And that report will be a much smaller number. Sona Bloom says, nothing, I'm a good girl. Not according to YouTube if they blocked your chats. Yeah, so it'll be a smaller number because flights have been postponed since the 23rd. So maybe around the 21st. So we only have 3 weeks of flights. Okay. What does haircut cost in Pennsylvania? Depends where you go, Lou. My barber used to charge $12. Now she charges $22. Biden inflation. Yep. Nobody's footage is inverted. What are you talking about? RVC, you're smoking something. I can see what's going out on the channel right here. I can pull up the channel and look at it. And I can see. What are you talking about? There's no inverted stuff here. Something wrong with your channel. Something wrong with your feed. View on YouTube. Let's see what it looks like. View on YouTube. Let's see what it looks like. That's not inverted. What are you talking about? Oh, it's going through a loop there. See, Lone Star Republic. Not inverted. Geez, that gets frustrating very quickly, doesn't it? Anyway, yeah, it's not inverted. No way. We're going to book a lot of information. Okay. Author, Angela Carosi. Okay. Was greeting 4 times during the stream. Okay, son of a... I don't know what happened. Well, not a funny joke. I'm addressing the chat, so I don't know why it's what you're getting at. All right, guys. See you later. Thanks. I'll be doing a video on the CBS thing. I got to watch a little bit more of it. So anyway, so watch for that video to come out, okay? All right. Thank you guys so much. Please watch that video. We'll see what happens. All right. Cheers.